Welcome to Trenton Today. Great to be back here at Trenton Central High School in their digital audio lab and joined by the mayor of the capital city of New Jersey, Gusciora. Welcome, Mayor Gusciora. Thanks for being part of the show again. Great to have you with us.
Always a pleasure to be at Trenton Central High School.
Yes, indeed.
The communications department.
Some of the students helping us out, Liz doing the directing, and Maura behind the microphone. Good morning, Maura.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, always a pleasure, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff going on here at Trenton Central High School. Later this evening, we've got some high school hoops on BCB. Looking forward to that as the Tornadoes are in the postseason, and they'll take on Hunterdon Central, 5:30 tip-off on BCB. Looking forward to that game. And you guys have an upcoming musical here at Trenton Central High School. We've been talking about it over the past number of occasions we've gotten together for Trenton Today, and that is coming up in March. Tell us a little bit about that. It's a little bit different. It's going to be a bilingual presentation of The Little Mermaid. Aladdin.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a significant difference.
Same costumes.
Not quite, but
I have my friend Montanelle who will also be on this podcast.
Yeah.
She's in it. So I just what I know, Aladdin, they're doing a bilingual version of it. So they're doing the singing and talking in both Spanish and English, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, at least you've helped us out get the name of the show correct, which is important. So we thank you for that. March 21st and 22nd, Aladdin here at Trenton Central High School. Again, we got the hoops coming up later on. Let's start the show by talking about our four-legged friends. I got a couple of cats that we adopted during the pandemic, Evan and Luna, and I think Mayor Gusciora, you mentioned that you've got some pets at home.
Yes, same as you.
Cats?
Yes.
Yeah. How about more? You got any pets at the house?
I have a cat and a dog.
That's awesome.
You have one of each.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, I bring it up because I saw a recent op-ed that you penned, Mayor Gusciora, about the Trenton Animal Shelter. It's a subject that we brought up here before on Trenton Today. In fact, I think it was last summer. You had some adoptable pets that you helped coordinate, and they were on the show hoping to get forever homes. But the Trenton Animal Shelter is in need of resources, and you talked a little bit about bringing, things together to help what is now an overcrowded animal shelter, and it needs some people to adopt pets. It needs a little bit of everything, it seems.
Yeah, we have only 20 kennels in our animal shelter, so that it has long outgrown its use. The problem is finding the land and finding the funds to be able to expand it. We're using the resources of a kennel that's in Bucks County, actually, and but has logistical problems, especially when you have adoption days. You're bringing dogs back and forth to Bucks County. So that's not ideal. In the meantime, we've bought actually a kennel in Bordentown in Columbus, and we're in the process of renovating it. It has to be up to code, and it also has to have some renovations before dogs from Trenton could be in there. But the problem is that there's too many dogs that are on the streets that get picked up. A lot of people took COVID pets, but then after COVID was over, they returned them, so to speak, and that's the problem we're having. We have illegal dog breeding in the city, and then the dogs that they can't use, they often just let go in the streets, and it's really hard to have all the resources to not only police for that thing, because you can't just knock on somebody's door and enter and say where are the dogs at,
right?
And so that's a challenge in and of itself. But right now we have over 60 dogs in our shelter system, and we're trying to find homes. And one of the objectionable things are that we've time-stamped the dogs. We don't think it's fair to have the dog in a cage for an inordinate amount of time, 8 months or more. And that seemed to have caused some energy to get the dogs adopted, but also the ire of a lot of animal advocates who don't want the dogs put down. And
Right.
we don't either, but again, I don't think it's fair for the dogs to be locked in a cage for the rest of their lives.
Now, these dogs, they can be adopted by folks that live in the city of Trenton, but also outside of the city of Trenton?
Yes, we're on Escher Street, and come visit us. We also have a phone. You could look it up on the internet. I just don't have the number offhand. But give us a call, and we can make arrangements for you to come to see the pets. Also on Pet Finder, we promote dogs that we're trying to adopt out. The good...
And we'll get that number for you before the show wraps up, so we'll have that at the break here, so we'll let you know how to get in touch.
The animal shelter number. And then cats, we have a separate organization called TrentonCats.org, and they do a really fantastic job of adopting out cats.
Yeah, I think through that network, that's how we got to meet Evan and Luna,
Oh, okay.
our cats. And I think they have fosters that are in Bucks County as
Yeah.
well, so that network
Yeah.
extends beyond Trenton. Maura, do you remember how you got your dog and your cat?
So with my cat, he's my most recent pet. I got him like 2 years ago. His name is Rory. And basically just my dad's friend has a cat, and
Right.
she got pregnant. So Rory was one of her kids, so that's how we got him.
Gotcha.
And then my dog, she's been here for a while. She's like 10 years old. I got her maybe in like the 2nd grade. She was my uncle's my uncle's dog, but he didn't really feel like having a pet anymore, so he gave it to my dad.
I mean, sometimes it can be a little bit of an emotional experience just to go to the animal shelter and to have all of those animals kind of tugging at your heartstrings. But we need to get the adoptions up. It seems like after the pandemic and COVID, for whatever reason, animal adoptions are down right now, and that's taken a toll on the animal shelter. Mayor Gusciora, you said 20 kennels in the network right now.
20 kennels at the Trenton Animal Shelter. We actually have more dogs there than kennels. We converted offices into space that we could put cages. It's not ideal, but the only alternative then, if the kennel in Bucks County is full, then we would have to timestamp the dogs, and that's unfortunate.
All right, well, we want to get the word out here on Trenton today, and I think your op-ed was put your best paw forward,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
And we are hoping that the Trenton residents and the greater Trenton community can help maybe adopt some of the pets, check out some of the animals at the Trenton Animal Shelter. And I would guess, too, there's ways to donate, provide resources, and even if you're not, your heart isn't open to a pet right now, that doesn't mean you can't help out with the situation. And again, we'll get the phone number for you a little bit later on in the show to let you know about how you can help Trenton Animal Shelters.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, hanging out with the mayor here for Trenton Today on WBCB. And another issue that we've touched on in the past, lead testing in the city of Trenton. That's still ongoing. When you described it to us before, it sounded like it was something that in order to get everybody tested, it would take some time.
Yes, we're testing children, and they can come through our health department. Problem, a lot of parents, they're working a couple of jobs. They don't have the time to come in, and we're trying to do it in the schools and make it easy as possible to get your child tested. Other parents don't even want to know for some reason, but it's a challenge. There's also language barrier issues, but it's a challenge getting kids tested for lead. On top of that, we were working in conjunction with the federal Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and they identified 200 properties that had lead in the soil. They also identified a couple of our parks, which got excavated, and they're now lead-free. There was a school that was in Trenton that had lead on their soil. That was also excavated, and now we have to do individual properties that they've identified.
So the EPA comes in, helps you identify some of those problem spots.
Yes.
As we're hearing about federal layoffs, any concern about services within the city of Trenton and how they may be affected by some of the decisions being made about the federal workforce in the United States.
Absolutely. The Trump administration unwisely has said that they'd like to cut as much as 65% of the EPA workforce. And, they do a lot of good work on cutting down pollution.
I mean, even with what we're just describing, this
Yes.
is potentially life-saving work for people in the city of Trenton, which was spearheaded by the EPA at the federal level.
And funded by the EPA. So if 65% goes away, now on the one hand, they've identified 200 properties. If they have to cut that by 65%, that's going to be difficult for the homeowners that have to live with the soil and that can't be excavated by the EPA. So we have great concerns. And then there's other programs. We have community development block grants, CDBG, that is the lifeblood for many safety net social services, homelessness prevention, medical care, and the like that goes into the city that otherwise the city would have to fund.
All right, we're going to step aside briefly. We'll be right back to Trenton Central High School in a moment. But before we step away, I want to mention the fact a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was last month, I think we had Fire Director Douglas co-hosting the show on Trenton Today. And one of the things we brought up was carbon monoxide detectors. Today, news came out that one of the great iconic actors of our time, Gene Hackman, passed away at 95. And right now, speculation is out there that that was due to a carbon monoxide leak in his home. Gene Hackman, his wife, and I believe his four-legged friend also passing away. And so just highlights the importance of putting together the carbon monoxide detectors that Director Douglas was talking about. I think they have them available for Trenton residents. They certainly have smoke detectors available. So if you are in need, make sure you check that out and protect your family with a carbon monoxide detector or a smoke detector that's working in your home. All right, we're going to step aside. We'll return in just a little bit. A lot more to touch on. Want to ask Mayor Gusciora why Trenton Water Works is not working right now and what needs to be done with that infrastructure, that system in the city of Trenton. We'll come back here for more Trenton Today in just a bit.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
Hi, this is Mayor Jeff Martin of Hamilton Township, inviting you to tune in to our monthly radio show, This Month in Hamilton. Video stream live the fourth Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. at WBCB1490.com. We will be featuring various guests from Hamilton Township to keep you up to date on what's going on in Hamilton.
Your vehicle is in good hands at Haldeman Collision, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. They do it all at Haldeman Collision. Minor dents and dings, bumpers, windshields, major body, and frame damage. Free estimates, 24-hour towing, most insurance accepted, and loaners available. Haldeman Collision works with all makes and models. They'll go out of their way to getting your car back in brand new condition. Haldeman Collision, conveniently located 20 minutes from Langhorne, Princeton, and Ewing on Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Welcome back to Trenton Central High School. It's Trenton Today on WBCB, brought to you by Capital Health System and Haldeman Ford, joined by the mayor of Trenton. We also have Maura hanging out with us. Before the break, we were talking about the animal shelter. I want to pass along the phone number to set up your visit. check out some of the inventory that's there. 609-989-3254. Also got information about a flash food drive. These pop up when donations come in, and they come in at random times. So now the word is out there this Saturday, going to have a flash food drive for the dogs and cats. So.
Yeah, we're actually giving away food when we get donated for both dog and cats. There's also supplies such as litter and even pet treats. So it really depends on the kind of donations we get, and then we give them out.
So that food drive giveaway happening at the North Clinton Recreation Center this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. So thanks for more information about some of the work going on at the Trenton Animal Shelter. I want to clean up the lead testing issue because, Maura, you had a question about that at the break. You were kind of wondering if that's something that you sign up for.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if the lead thing was something you had to like sign up for, if that was
Yeah.
just something where they just show up to your house randomly one day.
Yeah, well, you have to notify us, but there's a couple of things. One is the old paint. If you have an old house, you may have lead-based paint that has to be remediated, and we actually have programs where we do it for free. So it would be no cost to the homeowner. We're also required to test if it's a landlord, a rental unit. When the lease expires, it's required by the city to test the premises. But then also, if you're in a neighborhood where there used to be a pottery factory, we want to test your soil in your backyard. Oftentimes, when they made mistakes with plates, they just grounded them into the soil. And the problem was that the paint that was on those platewares is lead-based paint. So that ends up in your soil. That does not break down. And then there's testing for the child themselves. If you have lead-based paint in your house or you have soil that's contaminated, you'd want to get tested yourself. So we do all of that, and that's through our health department. And Renee can probably find that number too.
We'll get that for you on the show.
We have a standing operator, 411 here. Yeah, you can just call the health department. But all the services are free, and the remediation is free as well.
Well, we need that standing operator with so many services available to Trenton residents. We're talking about that on Trenton today. And Mayor Gusciora, Trenton makes a lot of industry in Trenton's history. Talking about the lead issue, I would think that's happening in almost every urban area where you have this residential and commercial and industrial stuff kind of coming together, not just in Trenton, but of course we heard in Flint and in other cases or other areas. Did Flint make people more aware of these potential lead issues?
Yeah, I think they were one of them. Jackson, Mississippi was another one where there's actually lead in the water because of the industrial base that was there. Trenton has, a long time ago in the 50s, we used this thing called galvanized soldering. And so while our pipes are not lead-based, the soldering
That's solder.
was.
Gotcha.
And it still leaches lead into the water. So it's good to run your sink before you actually use it. Otherwise, you should get your pipes tested as well to see if you have that lead-based pipes. Now, we are responsible for the pipes from the main water main in the middle of the street to your house. You're then responsible once inside the house. So it's rare, but there's some houses that still have lead pipes inside their house.
But for the most part, for that area between the street and the home, if
We'll
there's an
take care of it.
issue, that's free for
Yes.
property owners and for residents of Trenton
Yes.
to get this lead testing that's happening right now.
For the water pipes, yeah. And that's done through Trenton Waterworks. We've done about a third of the pipes. We have 36,000 pipes in our system. We've done about a third of them.
All right, so Trenton Waterworks, ongoing saga. seems like they've expanded the service area to Ewing and Hamilton and the greater Trenton
Lawrence
area.
and Hopewell.
But right now, there's infrastructure needs. What is not working with Trenton Waterworks, and what needs to be addressed?
Well, we intake water from the Delaware River, and then it goes to our filtration plant that's on Route 29, that big ugly brown building that we would love to see a mural on. But it's the initial filtering is at the filtration plant. Then it goes to our water reservoir on Pennington Avenue. It's a big lake that's exposed, and then it goes to the service municipalities. We had DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, the New Jersey Environmental Agency, evaluated our whole system. And as a priority, they said that we needed to replace our intake mechanism that's in the Delaware River. So we used DEP's advice, we used DEP's engineer, and we installed a $9 million contraption that sucks in the water. Right now we're evaluating it, whether there was a design flaw or something else that is not taking in all the water properly. So we're working on that right now.
I guess one of the things I saw was that if I don't know, Trenton Waterworks was in other non-municipal hands, they'd be able to borrow money more freely, and I guess that would help with those $9 million price tags that pop up.
Yeah, we're going to need about $600 million to do upgrades in the next 10 years.
Wow, it sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah, the filtration plant could be one day obsolete, that it's just too old. We need to replace the reservoir, and we're going to convert to storage tanks. We're going to do the lead service line replacement. So there's a lot of things that are in the works that are going to cost money down the line. There's a proposal, rather than have Trenton, which is a department, defray all the costs by creating a regional utility of the 5 municipalities. And that way you have the bonding capacity from 5 municipalities rather than one.
Gotcha. I mean, at $600 million, that just makes my eyes roll back in my head or something. I mean, more when you hear about I don't know, federal budgets and these big price tags, isn't it just kind of remarkable? Like, I guess as a mayor, you get used to these big $9 million price tags and stuff like that, but I would think it would make me sweat, and I'd be under so much stress thinking about $600 million or I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, like, even like $100,000 seems like a bunch to me.
That's
so
crazy money.
600 million.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
And how many people are you, or sir, you have an idea of how many people are served? It must be
Yeah,
a
we
few
have
million.
about 200,000 consumers in the pipeline.
Okay.
We have about 65,000 ratepayers. But they're
Is that just in Trenton, or that's
no, that's in
throughout the whole
the 5 service area.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Trenton Waterworks, an ongoing saga, as you mentioned.
I wouldn't call it a saga, but it's a challenge, and it's what we have to do to keep modernizing the facility, making those upgrades. But it just is a step back when we're doing something in conjunction with DEP and then spending money using their resources, and then the system has a kink in it that we have to fix.
I guess the other part that kind of makes me go a little wild with those big numbers is that, you know, it probably would be more prudent to spend $600 million and get the full upgrade than to do a $9 million improvement here and $10 million here. And it seems like that's kind of the issue, that things kind of are breaking down. And in order to revitalize the whole thing, it's kind of...
Well, a lot of that 600 million their parts working now. It's just estimated that, you know, there's a lifespan of some of the parts.
Yeah, yeah.
it's always interesting. We'd love to take more to the tour of the filtration plant so you could see firsthand and see what happens once the water comes in from the Delaware and goes into
We're
the
doing that
filtration.
after the show. Going to take the tour.
Come on over.
Is that
come on
open
over.
to the public?
No, it is not open, but we do take people on tours. We do take classes that are interested, science classes,
Sure.
environmental science classes,
Well,
because we want our kids interested in water production. We need scientists that test the water. We have a lab right in the filtration plant. We also need engineers to run the filtration plant.
well, for Eagles fans, it was like a little holy water as they win Super Bowl 59. What was the feeling in the city of Trenton? I know this is kind of the dividing line. You got a lot of New York Giants and Jets fans here, but a lot of Eagles fans within the city of Trenton. And people take to the streets here, or was it just another Sunday evening?
There were a lot of people that really enjoyed the game and that are
Oh, yeah.
Eagles fans because we are in the dividing line. There are
Sure.
people who are Giants fans.
Oh.
And then we have
They saw Saquon Barkley running all over the
Yeah.
place. They're like, oh, no.
We have a student right from Trenton Central High School that is playing for the 49ers.
Yes.
Jair Brown.
Yeah.
And I actually got to go fly out to San Francisco this year and watch their Seattle game. And
That's
that
awesome.
was fun being on the sidelines, cheering somebody from your hometown.
No question.
On. So there
Ja-
are 49er fans in this area as well.
And Jair Brown was in the Super Bowl last year.
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately, the 49ers didn't get it done, but the Eagles did win. Were you celebrating watching the Super Bowl, Maura?
Well, I'm not really much of a sports person, so I wasn't really watching it, but I was keeping up with like clips on TikTok and stuff.
Oh, okay. You got to watch just for the commercials
Yeah.
and that type of stuff. For the halftime show, what did you think of Kendrick Lamar? Did you catch
I
that?
thought the performance was amazing. I really thought
I think
it was
and you have to ask Mr. Caniglio whether he was vested in the game.
Yeah, he's a big football
This
guy.
year, I
Yeah.
turned it off. Literally.
he turned the game off.
I watched the first series.
He
of the
turned the
third
game
quarter,
off.
and I was like, the game's over.
Yeah, at a certain point, it was pretty clear that it was going to be
Yeah.
the
24
Eagles.
nothing at the half. I was like, that's a tough deficit. to
Yeah, yeah.
I thought they were playing the Giants.
Well, that was awesome for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl and for Trenton to be able to celebrate a little bit. All the Eagles fans within the city of Trenton get a little bit of joy. We're going to step aside. We'll return in just a moment here. I want to talk a little bit more about waste in government and how some of the cuts at the federal level may be impacting things in the city of Trenton. We'll come back to Trenton today in just a moment.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
Your vehicle is in good hands at Haldeman Collision, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. They do it all at Haldeman Collision. Minor dents and dings, bumpers, windshields, major body, and frame damage. Free estimates, 24-hour towing, most insurance accepted, and loaners available. Haldeman Collision works with all makes and models. They'll go out of their way to getting your car back in brand new condition. Haldeman Collision, conveniently located 20 minutes from Langhorne, Princeton, and Ewing on Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Welcome back to Trenton Today. We're here at Trenton Central High School, the home of the Tornadoes, and we have Montanelle now with us, our student co-host. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are more of an expert on the musical because you're involved in Aladdin. I'm finally getting the name of the show right, which is great. And it's going to be a bilingual presentation. We were hearing a little bit about how it's going to go, where it's like some members of the kingdom speak Spanish and some members of the kingdom speak English. And is that kind of how the script is altered in order to have both a Spanish and an English presentation?
For the royals are like the only main people that speak Spanish, and we have like the royal translators. They speak both English and Spanish, while the citizens, they only speak English. They don't understand Spanish.
Within the palace,
Yeah.
Spanish.
And
Gotcha.
well, we're pretty much like doing very well with it. Just like some students don't know how to speak Spanish, so we're like going over the songs because most of the songs are in Spanish. So it's pretty much going pretty well right now, but there's still stuff that needs to be worked over. And right now we're just working on the scenes because we already got all the songs down in the dances, so we just
Nice.
need the scenes.
Well, it seems like it's a very enriching and educational experience for just about everybody who's there because of the different language issues and stuff. And then always, I think, enriching to be on stage and to kind of go through that experience of performing and preparation and all. So glad things are coming together. Sounds like 2 performances, March 21st and March 22nd. I think the 21st is at night.
Yeah, it's around 7, and Saturday is at 3.
A 3 o'clock show. Cool. Aladdin coming to Trenton Central High School. Check that out in March.
I thought you were going to have 2 Aladdins.
Yeah.
Side by side.
And are some of the songs sung like first in English and then in Spanish?
I think the only song that probably starts in English is Friends Like Me. After that, the rest is just Spanish.
Well, it sounds like
Is there a Latin flair for the music, or?
I mean, right now we're still working on it, but it's pretty much fun. She just like let us have fun with the characters for now, and then she mostly have us like improvise on how we want to act for like the characters and stuff. So it's pretty much fun.
probably be pretty educational and enriching for anyone who would attend the show as well. So Aladdin coming to Trenton Central High School. Montanelle is now with us. We're joined by Mayor Reed Gusciora for Trenton today. And I saw, Mayor Gusciora, that there's a development opportunity on North Olden Avenue, and you guys are kind of looking for any different development concepts or ideas. And I just wanted to put that out there. What type of ideal fit do you see for that location and for that property?
It's an old industrial building, and so that's why we're looking for ideas. Some developers may say, I'll take it. Others may say that it's too much of a burden to clean up. They have to do environmental testing.
Right.
So it's a heavy lift, but yet there are developers out there that say, we'll take your tired, old, worn-out buildings and we'll make them something new. So it's up to, that's the reason why you do RFPs or RFQs to find out proposals of what the experts who are developers know what to do with it. We may, we all may want to have a sauna and a, but we don't know if that works.
Yeah.
So we're looking, and one of the under development now is the old Holiday Inn that was on West State Street, and there is a gymnasium over there that is long closed. There's actually a pool, and the developer who wants to convert it to housing, wants to keep that gym and wants to keep that pool there.
Do
So
they have a
good for
sauna
them.
there?
They will have a sauna there.
Well, I saw a report about housing in America and the how we need more housing stock, basically, in order to make housing more affordable. What is the state within the city, or the situation within the city of Trenton as far as affordable housing and developers coming in here to provide new housing, and maybe by providing some new opportunities, it can bring the rates down for other people, supply and demand, you get more supply. You think the prices probably will come down if demand stays the same.
Yeah, there's an interest in all levels of housing. There's interest in having market rate housing. There's a couple of projects right downtown, the old Bell Telephone building, the old Van Sciver building.
And just to be clear, market rate housing would be a little bit more upscale. It would be housing that would be competitive.
What the market would bear.
Right.
So, a marketable house in Trenton is different than a marketable house in Princeton, but there are no rules. In affordable or a medium house, it's called workforce housing.
Right.
So that's one step ahead of affordable, and then below affordable is low-income housing, which is based on vouchers that are given out by the federal government.
I mean, this report that I was seeing kind of suggested that it's the market rate housing that really can help an area, although that sounds kind of upside down. You think more affordable housing would provide more opportunities for people to find some affordable places to live, but when you have market rate housing, then that just increases the supply. People move out of their other places, and it opens up space. So again, that supply and demand thing seems like, I don't know, something that the market rate seems to be the key sometimes for that, which seem counterintuitive to me, but I kind of get just the idea of more supply is going to be better for people's rents and mortgages.
Yeah, and the reason why there's a shortage of market rate housing, at least in urban areas, is the incentives, the tax incentives and the actual redevelopment incentives are with affordable housing, less so for market housing. So a lot of developers want to come in urban areas, and they'll be able to get the financing for affordable. Market, they may make more money, but they have to do it without those incentives.
Gotcha. Governor Phil Murphy gave his final budget address recently. Mayor Gusciora, can you just talk a little bit about the working relationship that Trenton has had with the state of New Jersey throughout Governor Murphy's time? It seems like it was a very good relationship, and hopefully that will continue on with whoever is next up in that spot, in that office.
Yeah, we're the Chris Christie administration was not so generous to the city of Trenton. Our state aid in the form of capital city aid was $6 million under Chris Christie. Today it's $47 million from the Murphy administration. So they have recognized that there's the biggest presence of state buildings are in the city of Trenton. 52% of our property is tax exempt. And so it causes a big burden on the rest of the taxpayers. And so we try to make it up and get capital city aid that will be payment in lieu of property taxes.
Well, right now at the federal level, looking at cutting budgets and laying off workers, in that $47 million, are there people within the city of Trenton that look at watchdogs that are looking for waste and those types of things that are being pinpointed at the federal level right now? I would think that there's going to be a trickle down from the federal to states into cities to kind of have this mindset of slashing, cutting, making sure that we are as efficient as possible.
Well, we've already had all those slashing and making things efficient. There was a time under the Chris Christie administration, because of the cut in aid, we had to lay off 125 police officers. That was not productive for the city of Trenton, and we have paid for that ever since. So because of the lack of full investment from the state, we've had to make a lot of serious cuts to our workforce, not only in the policing, but elsewhere. So we need every penny that we can get. And when the federal government is cutting back now on especially the social safety net programs, that means that the residents have to pick up that tab.
Heard the Trenton House just reopened. The
Yes.
new HVAC and the museum back opened in the city of Trenton, which is cool.
Yep.
And L.A. Parker in the Trentonian talking about all the different cool spots of interest in the city of Trenton for, what is it, the sesquicentennial?
Semi-quincentennial.
Okay.
It's a fancy term for 250th anniversary.
I was not even close with that. What was that again?
Semi-quincentennial.
Semi-quince.
Centennial.
Centennial.
Yeah.
Is it Spanish or Latin?
Probably it's Latin origin, but it's the nickname for 250th anniversary. So.
I mean, it sounds cool. So.
Yes, it does sound cool. But 250 years ago, in 2026, was when George Washington crossed the Delaware and beat the British forces, albeit through the Hessian troops that were here. And that was the turning point of the Revolutionary War. We were losing the war until the Battle of Trenton.
You know,
And we thank all the Pennsylvanians for hosting George Washington's troop at Valley Forge.
Yeah. What could we do? He was a nice guest. You know, you talk about how the different federal workers and how there's potential layoffs happening at that level. Definitely something to, I don't know, be concerned about when it comes to services. I heard Bill Clinton in his administration had a similar initiative to look at government and try to slash, cut, make it more efficient. And through that process, he did let go a bunch of federal employees, but what ended up happening was that they had to bring in contractors to fulfill the needs that were there, the things that the federal government does, and it actually increased the budget a little bit because those services still needed to be met. So they did make some cuts, and there was a reduction in the federal workforce, but out of that reduction came in a bunch of contractors. So you would have a federal worker now working with a contractor who was making a little bit more money than they would as a federal employee, and it actually was counterproductive in that way and increased the budget because whatever is cut, the services still need to be there. The expectations are still there, whether it's in the city of Trenton, the state of New Jersey, or the United States.
Yeah, and the Trump administration wants to make those cuts but not replace them. It's the well.
Well, then when the services
budget.
dip down, then potentially they're going to have a little bit of blowback and say, you know, we do need to keep these things in place. Let's bring in contractors. At least that's what happened in this other similar kind of situation.
You're seeing that play out in the congressional public meetings that they're having through in their districts. There are people that are now really feeling that effect. We were promised that if the Trump administration won, eggs would go down, and instead they've gone the other way, and it's caused a lot of tension with Canada, our closest ally. The border between the United States and Canada is the longest non-militarized border in the world, and now our actions against Canada are causing that to be jeopardized.
Just to go back to the egg prices real quick, and we'll step aside and return here to Trenton today in just a moment, but want to ask about bird flu, influenza, COVID, all those health-related things that we've talked about in the past on Trenton today, but now we're seeing confirmed cases of avian flu within the United States. Want to see what Trenton has found in that regard and talk more about vaccinations and those types of things when we return to Trenton today in just a moment.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny-O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Your vehicle is in good hands at Haldeman Collision, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. They do it all at Haldeman Collision. Minor dents and dings, bumpers, windshields, major body, and frame damage. Free estimates, 24-hour towing, most insurance accepted, and loaners available. Haldeman Collision works with all makes and models. They'll go out of their way to getting your car back in brand new condition. Haldeman Collision, conveniently located 20 minutes from Langhorne, Princeton, and Ewing on Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Hey, welcome back to Trenton Today on WBCB. We're here at Trenton Central High School inside their digital audio lab with the mayor of Trenton, Reed Gusciora. So in passing, you mentioned the brown building that is part of the Trenton Waterworks that you would like to see a mural on. Mm-hmm. Trenton Arts is something that we should highlight a little bit. I don't think we talk about it enough. For years, it was art all night here at Trenton. But it does seem like there's a vibrant arts community that if you were looking for a mural, let's put it out there here today. Maybe somebody steps forward with some ideas and concepts for that space.
Yeah, and we actually set aside $100,000 from ARPA money, the American Recovery Program, and we're going to be doing a search for mural artists and to try to put some murals around the city. But
nice.
It's important, and you see a lot of urban areas that are revitalized do it with the arts and spruce up their town, and it attracts development and visitors.
Well, I was just mentioning the Eagles and all that stuff. I heard flag football is coming to Trenton Central High School. Are you trying out for the team, Montanel?
No, I used to do soccer, but now I don't do sports no more because I'm more focused on more like theater and writing and stuff. So I don't do that anymore.
Now, were you watching the Super Bowl though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was first with my stepdad.
What is you've talked about your writing before with us. Tell us a little bit about some of the projects right now that you're working on. I think you've already written some novels or like some fiction. Maybe it's not a full novel, but some short stories.
Right now, I'm working on this this girl who is like autistic because I'm autistic, and I wanted to like write something like a girl who is like autistic and want to like experience like the outside world and stuff. So she's like getting some help from like her friends and stuff. Right now, that's like I'm not done with that. It's just like a little idea which I have written, but right now my main focus is on my other book, which is Stalker X Stalker. It's this girl who is like stalking like her crush, and her crush who is also stalking her. She doesn't know that, and he like sent her like flowers and stuff, and like every morning she received like flowers. And his like main flower for her is like carnations because it means like longing for somebody. And he like he would like buy her like all the stuff he like needs, but she doesn't really know it's him, and he knows that she's stalking him, but she doesn't know that he's stalking her.
I mean, is this more of like a rom-com, or is this like a thriller? Like somebody's gonna
Somebody's gonna
somebody's
lie
gonna get
somebody. Yeah, it's like a dark romance. At first, it wasn't supposed to be a dark romance, but I have a habit of like killing off main characters. So I'm like, I shouldn't do that. So let's just like kill off like side characters.
Sounds like we need to bring in a child study team.
Nah, it's an amazing way to explore and put yourself out there. Now, does that work, the writing that you do, kind of dovetail into some of the stuff that you guys do here at the Digital Audio Lab, part of the communications department? I know that, writing sometimes can, be a key for any type of broadcasting or communications.
Pretty much, yeah, but mostly here we like try to create like our own stuff, like music or anything that we want. When I used to have like Mr. C, he would like have us like write our own scripts and then like record it, which would be fun because we would like act it out and make it more dramatic than we should do. So it was like fun. But in some certain classes, I don't take much classes, but for theater, which I don't take, but I usually like write scripts, so I'm like helping write scripts and stuff there.
That's pretty cool. I mean, keeping your,
oh yeah, I was there.
putting yourself out there and, having your writing be appreciated by your fellow students too has got to be very rewarding.
Yeah. For the first chapter of the Stalker X Stalker book, I had like written like a letter, like he wrote her a letter, and I was like, why don't we just turn it to a poem instead? And I did, and I showed like one of my friends. She took like a whole picture of the poem, all because she liked it, which was fun. That's
awesome. Well, we're talking with Mayor Gusciora. Black History Month here in February. You guys had a flag raising. Can you kind of go back in time and walk us through what that ceremony was like, kind of who was there? Also, you guys are going to be naming, I believe, the Capitol building after former Mayor Doug Palmer.
Yeah, that will be on May 3rd. The City Hall itself, the annex that we're going to name after Doug Palmer. He was the first African-American mayor of the city of Trenton. He did a lot of good.
Was he there for the flag raising? I mean, is he still...
I think he was, right? Yeah. I know he was at one of our events just recently, so it's all a blur. But yeah, we're doing the Dominican flag tonight, later on in the afternoon, and we actually did a African American History Trail scavenger hunt this last weekend. There's a lot of historical spots in the city that is very meaningful to African American history. We have the Carver Center, which was the first African American Y in the city. They were segregated at that point. We also have the Higbee School, which was the first African American elementary school, and that we're revitalizing both those buildings. And then we have a abandoned cemetery, Locust Hill, where 10 African American Civil War soldiers were buried, and we've restored that, and we're having an interpreter center right next door. But the interesting thing about African American history is that George Washington introduced the colored troops in the Revolutionary War. So the first black soldiers fought in the Revolution right here in Trenton.
Well, right here in Trenton, it feels like there is a rich diversity, people from all different walks of life. And right now, diversity, equity, inclusion coming under fire. Talk a little bit about how diversity within the city of Trenton helps it stay strong and vibrant, and is actually something that I just see as it works.
Yeah,
in Trenton.
Yeah, here's one example is policing. You want to have a police department that reflects the neighborhoods that they serve. And for the first time, we have 2 black female lieutenants on our police force that are both eligible to be captains and leaders of the police force. So that's a good thing when you have a diversified police force, but also you want to have diversified city hall to make sure that we're addressing the problems out there.
And not to interrupt you, but Director Douglas, who was with us talking about fire protection in the city of Trenton, also highlighting the fact that having bilingual firefighters being able to respond to people is really important. To be able to communicate
when you're
in an
clearing out a
emergency.
house, you want to make sure that you have the capability of communicating with the diversity that's within our neighborhoods.
Now, within the Trenton workforce, the mayor's office, for instance, is that something where you have sought out diversity within the group that you're working with, so you do
Yes, and that's
represent different people and different Trentonians?
Yeah, and that's important for the mayor to make sure that we're addressing the diverse neighborhoods, the diverse people that are out into the community.
You know, one of the other elements of the whole DEI thing is inclusion and making sure that everybody is able to participate and be a part of things. Is that something that you find people go out of their way here within the Trenton Central community, teachers, faculty members, administration, to make sure that everybody is able to participate? And I just think that's something that is pretty important when it comes to a public high school experience.
I feel like yes, because like I know like some certain teachers, like even though like after school they like go somewhere else and help, and I find like that is great because like some people out there that also need help, and it's good to like volunteer for around and other stuff. Right now I volunteer for like helping people like sign for jobs, like bilingual people and some people that doesn't even speak
Right.
English, so I like help them. So I find like that's really good for like the teachers here to also help them when they're like most people like coming here and they don't know the Spanish or English languages.
Right.
And right now there's just like more languages that's being added, and I don't think there's like enough people here that could like help with them with those. So I found it very good that the teachers are like volunteering and other adults, even though they have like long days at work.
That is great. And then you talk about how, you know, when there's such a great deal of diversity, sometimes it is a challenge for organizations to deal with. One of the things that we're hearing from the Oval Office now is about immigration, ICE actions, and I'm wondering within the city of Trenton, what is the
buzz?
Well, what's the mindset, about how you guys approach those types of things? I mean, I've heard ICE doing raids, ICE looking for unaccompanied children and stuff like that, that just seems very chilling and concerning for people who are, I don't know, just empathetic to the plight of people who are undocumented in the United States.
Yeah, the problem is the fear that's out there, and there are instances of parents withholding their children from school because they don't want supposedly ICE coming and raiding schools. So there is a lot of fear out there. We're in communications with the federal government, but they don't have to tell us anything. And there have been instances where they've come. They say that they have come for somebody with a criminal record, and there have only been less than a handful of incidences in the city. That doesn't say that there's going to be more, but the fact that they were here does cause concern and raises some alarm.
Is there a communication level with your office, with the state? If ICE has a warrant for an action, I think that they can have the right to do whatever is necessary, but I do think there are some situations where there's some cooperation between ICE agents, state, and local government.
Actually, not to the degree that you would think of. We have an Attorney General's directive that our police are not to, on their own, question somebody based on their immigration status.
Seek out that status,
and
right.
Only cooperate with ICE when it involves a criminal act that has occurred in the city.
Right. Well, that's something which I'm thinking probably has certain residences and populations within the city of Trenton a little bit concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to provide some assurances that the city of Trenton is providing protections for people that are within the city,
Sure.
I think is something that people are kind of looking for.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up here. I think we're over time. Big thanks to Brianne O'Neill, our video engineer. All the support here we get from our Trenton Central High School participants. Thanks to Liz, Maura, Montanel, Mr. Coniglio for helping out, Mr. Francis for helping to put things together, and thanks to you for being with us. Also, Capital Health System and Haldeman Ford making the show possible. We'll be back next month with more of Trenton Today. Big thanks to Mayor Gusciora for doing the thing. And we'll be back with you next time here on WBCB.